Hello, mortals. I am Dr. Sombrio, and today we are going to discover one of the most terrifying conditions that can affect human development, an anomaly that literally creates children who are dead inside, bodies that function, but without a soul, without a mind, without the spark of consciousness that defines us as human beings. In 1992, in the dark laboratories of Johns Hopkins Hospital, researcher Dr. Diana Bianchi observed something that made her blood run cold, an ultrasound showing a 20-week-old fetus with a completely empty cranial cavity where the brain should have been. What she was seeing was one of nature's most horrific manifestations, a baby destined to be born already dead inside. The scientific name for this abomination is Anencephaly, which literally means without a brain, but don't be fooled by the simplicity of the term. This is one of the most disturbing conditions known to modern medicine, a catastrophic developmental failure that creates ghost children, bodies that breathe, hearts that beat, but minds that will never exist. The macabre experiment that revealed the secrets of this condition began when scientists decided to study human neural development in microscopic detail. What they discovered was a window of horror lasting only 4 days, between the 23rd and 26th day after conception, where everything can go terribly wrong. During this critical period, when the embryo is only a few millimeters long, a process called neurulation occurs. It is at this point that the neural tube, which will give rise to the brain and spinal cord, must close properly. But in anencephaly, this process fails catastrophically, creating an opening where the forebrain should be. What makes this condition truly terrifying is that it occurs before most women even know they are pregnant. During these crucial first weeks, as millions of cells divide and migrate to form the most complex systems in the human body, something goes horribly wrong. The cells destined to form the cerebral cortex, the center of thought and consciousness, simply do not develop. The result is a child born with only a partially formed brainstem, enough to maintain basic functions, such as breathing and heartbeat, but completely devoid of any capacity for consciousness, thought, or perception. It is as if nature had built a perfect biological machine, but completely forgotten to install a soul. Studies conducted at Harvard University have revealed disturbing details about these fetuses during development. Using advanced magnetic resonance imaging, researchers discovered something terrifying. Fetuses with anencephaly show reflexive activity in the brainstem, but a complete absence of brain waves associated with consciousness. Dr. Janet DiPietro conducted pioneering experiments monitoring the neural activity of these fetuses during the 3rd trimester. Her findings were both fascinating and horrifying. The fetuses responded to stimuli such as loud sounds or their mother's movements, but these responses were purely automatic, like a biological robot reacting to external commands, without any conscious experience behind them. The statistics behind this horror are absolutely devastating. Anencephaly affects 1 in every 1,000 pregnancies worldwide. 75% of fetuses die in the womb. Of the 25% that are born alive, 99% die within the first 48 hours. Only very rare cases survive a few weeks as biological automatons functioning without purpose. But here is where the story becomes truly macabre. In 1999, a documented case in Brazil shocked the international medical community. A child with anencephaly survived for 2 years and 8 months. Throughout this period, there was no sign of cognitive development, recognition, or conscious response. The body grew and developed, but the mind never existed. It was literally a person dead inside. During this terrifying time, parents reported the disturbing experience of caring for an empty shell, a baby who cried reflexively when hungry, who moves arms and legs, but whose eyes never showed recognition, whose face never expressed genuine emotion. It was like caring for an extremely sophisticated biological doll. Scientists have discovered that several factors can trigger this biological curse. Folic acid deficiency during the first weeks of pregnancy increases the risk by 70%. High body temperatures, caused by high fever, saunas, or hot tubs, can increase the likelihood by 300%. Certain anticonvulsive medications raise the risk by 400%. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect is the discovery of geographical clusters of this condition. In the 1990s, a region of Texas recorded rates 10 times higher than the national average, prompting researchers to investigate whether mysterious environmental factors could be creating these abominations en masse. The diagnosis of this condition can be made as early as the 11th week of pregnancy through ultrasound. What doctors see on the screen is both clear and horrifying. An empty cranial cavity where the brain should be, covered only by a thin membrane of tissue, as if it were a hollow vessel meant to house a mind that will never form. The psychological impact on parents is devastating. Many describe the terrifying feeling of carrying a biological ghost, something that moves and grows inside them, but that they know will never truly be a person. It is like being pregnant with a soulless body. In 2012, a disturbing discovery emerged from the laboratories. Researchers were able to map exactly what happens in the brain during the development of anencephaly. Using electron microscopy techniques, they observed how millions of neurons destined to form consciousness simply die or never form, leaving voids where the neural networks of personality, memory, and perception should be. Subsequent experiments with animal models revealed something even more disturbing. When scientists artificially blocked the development of the cerebral cortex in mammalian fetuses, the results were identical to human anencephaly. Functional bodies with perfect reflexes, but completely devoid of any spark of consciousness. Prevention of this condition has become possible through folic acid supplementation, which can reduce the risk by 70% when started before conception. Countries that have implemented food fortification programs have reduced the incidence by approximately 50%, but thousands of cases still occur annually around the world. Current research is exploring genetic editing techniques, such as CRISPR, to potentially prevent neural tube defects, but the ethical challenges are immense. Will we be justified in modifying human embryos to prevent these ghost children? Where do we draw the line between medical correction and manipulation of human nature? Anencephaly teaches us something deeply disturbing about the nature of consciousness, that our humanity does not reside in the physical body, but in the complex neural network we call the brain. A beating heart, breathing lungs, and contracting muscles are not enough to create a real person. The neural substrate of consciousness, of the soul, of the mind, is necessary. This condition raises terrifying philosophical questions. If a baby with anencephaly will never develop consciousness, can be considered truly alive? Or is it just a sophisticated collection of cells functioning automatically, a biological automaton, without the spark of conscious experience that defines us as humans? The study of this abomination has contributed to our understanding of the processes that create the human mind. By observing what happens when everything goes wrong, scientists have mapped the critical steps in the formation of consciousness and identified the specific windows where our humanity can be lost forever. Today we know that anencephaly represents the most extreme example of how microscopic processes during a few critical weeks determine whether a child will be born as a complete person or as an empty body functioning without purpose. It is a terrifying reminder of the fragility of human development and how we are always just a few days away from the abyss between being and not being. This condition forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about what really makes us human. Each case of anencephaly is a window into the darkest mysteries of consciousness, revealing that our ability to think, feel, and experience the world depends on molecular orchestration so delicate that it can fail catastrophically in a matter of hours. Anencephaly remains one of nature's cruelest experiments. The creation of perfect bodies inhabited by minds that will never exist, children destined to be born already dead inside, functioning as sophisticated biological machines but completely devoid of the essence that defines us as conscious beings. Remember, mortals, consciousness is more fragile than you imagine. A few critical days during embryonic development determine whether we will be born as complete people or as empty shells functioning automatically. The difference between having a mind and being just a body is more tenuous than you would like to believe. If this macabre exploration of nature's darkest experiments has revealed the disturbing secrets behind the formation of human consciousness, leave a like to feed the algorithm that connects us to these dark mysteries of science. And if you want more disturbing revelations about the experiments that medicine would rather forget, subscribe to the channel where scientific truth meets the reality of horror. Until the next installment of Scientific Darkness.